All right, guys, so if you're watching this video, you've already seen how to do the distributive property of multiplication. You're simply taking the one-digit factor and you're handing it out digit by digit for the other factor and multiplying using our mental math strategy of box and dot and kind of knowing the idea of value of a digit. So it is now your turn to try some. And what you're going to do now is you're going to get this worksheet, and I'm going to zoom in on the directions here. First things first, if you take a look at the paper, there are 4 pause places. And so when you get to a pause spot, you're going to pause the video and solve the problem using the distributive property of multiplication, not a different strategy, not the area model we did earlier, the distributive property of multiplication. If you don't know what that is, you might need to rewatch video number 1. When you get your final answer, circle it, because there's a lot of other like little partial answers, parts of answers along the way sometimes. So we want to make sure you're circling your final answer. And then when you think you have that final answer, you can estimate if you want to see if your answer makes sense. But if not, you're going to go ahead and push play. And I'm going to go over the example. And if you got it right, then you can go ahead and try the next one. If you did get it wrong, even if you know where you got it wrong, please raise your hand, touch base with a teacher, and just say, hey, look, I added wrong, or oh, it was a fact mistake, or oh, I didn't put enough zeros. Or maybe you don't know why you got it wrong, and a teacher will help you with that. So what I'd like you to do is you're going to go ahead and hit pause here. And when you're done and you have your answer circled, hit play, and I'll go over the answer. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of me because I am not the important part here. The math is the important part. So the factor we're going to distribute here is our 7. The first number, and again, it doesn't matter if we went to the 1 first or the 5 first. I prefer to go to the bigger digit first, but it really doesn't, the greater digit first, but it really doesn't matter. So I know that 5 is really worth 50 because it's in the tens place. So this is really 7 times 50. And when I use box and dot real quick, I know that that's worth 350. So 350 is going to be part of my answer, but not my final answer because it's not 7 times 50, it's 7 times 51. So now I'm going to distribute the 7 with the 1. Well, that's easy. 7 times 1 is 7. So I need to be careful where I put that 7. If I put that 7 here, that's not a problem, but I can't add the digits like this because I'm not adding the same place value. I am lining up the ones place with the hundreds place. So you're welcome to just put it there, but you know that you need to then figure out what is 350 plus 7. You might not even need to set up an addition problem for this one. It is 357. So if you had that correct answer, awesome. If you didn't have 357 circled as your answer, please raise your hand and touch base. Maybe you already know why. If you're ready, move on to problem number 2. Go ahead and copy this problem and take a moment to pause the video and do the distributive property. All right, first we're going to take the 5 and we're going to distribute it with the 7. But remember, this is not 5 times 7. That 7 is in the tens place, so it's really worth 70. 5 times 7 is indeed 35 with 1 0 there with my box and dot. So I know 5 times 70 is 350, but this problem says 5 times 73. So I also need to do the 5 times 3, and that 3 is just worth 3 here, and that is 15. Now, I didn't line things up like this. I know that these 2 parts of my answer, they need to come together. So I have 350 plus 15, and 0 plus 5 is 5. 5 plus 1 is 6, and 3. So my final answer here, guys, is 365. I feel like I just had deja vu that this was the same answer as last time. Oh no, very close though. All right. So if you had 365 for number 2, awesome. You can move on to number 3. Otherwise, raise your hand and touch base with a teacher. All right, this time we have a single digit to distribute to 3 different digits. So go ahead and pause. All right, so we're going to, instead of having 2 parts of our answer to put together, we're going to have 3 parts of our answer. The first part, we're going to do 9 times 2. But remember that 2 isn't worth 2. That 2 is in the hundreds place. So it's really worth 200. So we have 9 groups of 200, which is 1,800. That's one part of our answer. The next part that we're going to distribute is the 9 times the 3, but that 3 is really worth 30. And so I know that 9 groups of 30 would be 27 with a 0. So the second part of my answer there is 270. And the third part of my answer is going to be 9 times 4. And that 4 is in the ones place, so that's good. That's 36. So I know that my final answer is going to be all 3 of these parts put together. So we have 1,800. We need to line everything up. This is part of COAS, so that's in the hundreds place. So that's 270, and 36 goes here. And COAS, we simply add column by column, starting in the ones. 0 plus 0 plus 6 is 6. 0 plus 7 plus 3 is 10. I can't put 2 cars in one parking spot. Let me get rid of those weird arrows. I don't know why I did that. Craziness, Phillips. All right, so now I'm going to go back here. And, going down in this tens column, 0 plus 7 plus 3 is 10. I can't put 2 cars in one parking spot. So just like with rounding, we're going to move the 1 directly next door, right to the hundreds column. And because 10 tens makes 100. 8 plus 2 plus 1 more. Don't forget to add all of those. So 1 plus 8 is 9, plus 2 is 11, or you can think 8 plus 2 is 10, plus 1 is 11. I can't put 2 cars in one parking spot, so I'm going to put the 1 down here and carry 1 over here because, again, 10 hundreds makes 1,000. 1 plus 1 is 2. So we get a final answer of 2,106. If you got that right, go on to problem number 4. If not, raise your hand, chat with a teacher, figure out where you went wrong. All right, here is problem number 4, and go ahead and pause. We'll go over it in a minute. Okay, first thing we're going to distribute is the 3 times the 6, but that 6 is really worth 600. So 3 groups of 600 is the 3 times 6 is 18 with 2 zeros. So I know 3 groups of 600 is 1,800. But this problem also requires me to do 3 groups of 4. Now remember, I can skip that 0. So 3 groups of 4, and that's just worth 4, it's in the ones place, is 12. So now I know that part of my answer is 1,800 and part of my answer is 12. I just need to put them together. If you need to set up an addition problem here, I'll show you how to do that. I need to line up place values. Well, the 2 is in the ones place and the 1 is in the tens place. We're going to add that up. 0 plus 2 is 2. 0 plus 1 is 1. We have 800s and 1,000. You should have 1,812 as your final answer. Now, again, if you got it wrong, check in with a teacher. Otherwise, you can move on to the challenge question down below. Amazing job.